You just view him differently. And throughout the years in covering the league, those are all the things that I've consistently heard. I'm talking fear factor. Fear factor. That's just not something that has ever been associated with him. What I'm saying is we're talking about the greatest player who ever played the game, which I believe to be Michael.
Let's get one thing straight from the jump. When you talk basketball greatness, two names dominate the airwaves, Michael Jordan and LeBron James. But don't kid yourself, this is no coin flip. Stephen A. Smith, one of the loudest, sharpest, most relentless voices in the game, dropped the truth so heavy it shut the barbershops down. Nobody ever feared LeBron like they feared Jordan. Let that hit your chest. This isn't just about points per game, efficiency charts, or sports science. It's about something deeper, something primal. Reverence, intimidation, psychological warfare, that aura that made grown men, professionals, alphas in their own right, buckle before the ball was even tipped. Jordan had it. LeBron never did. Stephen A. isn't whispering this. He's blasting it for the world to hear. If you lived through the Jordan era, you know what he's talking about. The A shifted when MJ walked on the floor. Stadiums got quiet. Opponents got smaller. Coaches rewrote game plans, not to win, but to survive. And that's a difference. Stephen A. starts with the receipts. 2011, the finals. LeBron's infamous collapse against the Dallas Mavericks. That was the moment. The so-called king shrank under the brightest lights, vanished when his team needed him most. Jason Terry looked him in the eye and didn't blink. Think about that. Jordan never had a moment like that. Not once. No disappearing acts. No shrinking from the kill. No teammates left stranded. LeBron's 2011 meltdown cracked his aura forever. Greatness isn't just about climbing to the mountaintop. It's about what you do when the fire is hottest. And on that stage, LeBron wilted Jordan. He relished that fire. He didn't just face pressure, he weaponized it. You put Jordan on the final stage, and somebody was getting torched. He walked into every series with one mission: end you. That's why opponents feared him. Not respected, not admired, but feared. They knew once MJ smelled blood, it was already over. LeBron's story is different. Players respect his game. They admire his longevity. They know he's great, but they don't fear him. Nobody wakes up in a cold sweat thinking about guarding LeBron the way they did with Jordan. Nobody rewrote the rulebook just to contain him. Nobody walked into a series already defeated. That's Stephen A.'s line in the sand. Fear is the ultimate separator. Jordan commanded it. LeBron never earned it.
Chronicle the deeds when they transpire. You know, when we looked at LeBron in 2011, when that happened, that's what we said at that particular moment.
Stephen A. isn't blind. He's not out here pretending LeBron didn't grow, didn't evolve, didn't build a resume stacked with greatness after 2011. He knows LeBron matured, found his stride, and carved out one of the most decorated careers the game has ever seen. But here's the kicker. The timeline matters. Jordan didn't need to stumble into greatness. He didn't have to wait until year 8, year 9, or some catastrophic failure to unlock his killer instinct. From day one, Jordan entered the league like a fully loaded weapon. Fire in his eyes, fury in his soul, no calibration needed. By the time he got to his first title, the legend of his killer instinct was already carved in stone. He was feared before the rings, before the dynasty, before the 6'4", 6. LeBron. His story is different. His greatness was a climb, a steady build. He had to learn, grow, adjust. He had to develop the instincts Jordan was born with. And that's a difference, because fear doesn't wait for development. Fear doesn't give you time to figure it out. Fear is instant. It's either there from the very first step, or it isn't. And with Jordan, it was there. From the jump, from the first moment he took the court, players felt it. That dread, that realization that there's no out, no strategy, no escape once 23 set his sights on you. With LeBron, they respected him. They admired the rise. They acknowledged the freakish athleticism, the passing vision, the stat-stuffing brilliance. But respect is not fear. Fear is primal. Fear is when the assassin walks into the room already sharpening the blade, and you're just hoping not to be the first target. Jordan had that instantly. LeBron had to build his greatness over time. And by the time he fully arrived, by the time he'd shed the doubts, By the time he'd learned how to close, the primal edge that makes opponents quake in their shoes was gone. Players weren't terrified. They were prepared. They believed they had a shot.
6-8 years. At that moment, what you said, what I said, what we all said was accurate. And then he grew and showed his...
Now Stephen A. swings the sledgehammer. He strips away all the excuses, all the advanced metrics, all the what IFS, and lays it bare. How could a man with 6 finals losses stand shoulder to shoulder with Michael Jordan? How? Jordan's record. 6 for 6. Untouched. Untainted. No blemishes. No almost. No, we'll get him next year. Every time Jordan reached the mountaintop, he planted his flag and never let it go. No Game 7s. No collapse. No slipping through his fingers. Every trip to the finals was a coronation, not a coin flip. LeBron, more finals losses than wins. That's not nitpicking. That's the core of the aura. Fear is bred in dominance, and dominance means never letting the trophy out of your hands once you've touched it. Every time you fail on that stage, every time you walk off with silver instead of gold, a piece of the fear evaporates. Opponents stop trembling. They start believing. Jordan's perfection built his myth. His record became his shield, his sword, his crown. 6 finals, 6 championships, 6 MVPs of the finals. That's not just winning. That's erasing the possibility of losing. That's how legends are born. LeBron's story? Different. Historic numbers. Incredible longevity. Unmatched versatility. But when you zoom in on the biggest stage, it's a tale of battles won and wars lost. Dallas 2011. San Antonio 2007. Golden State 3 times. The losses pile up. And with each one, the aura of invincibility, the thing that separates respect from fear, fades further. And that's exactly why Stephen A. says a comparison crumbles under reality. You can't dethrone a flawless king with a resume full of almost. Jordan's record slams the door shut. LeBron's record leaves it cracked open for debate.
Lost 6 championships, has an opportunity in his career to eclipse Michael Jordan? Is that what you're saying?
When Stephen A. says it's not disrespecting LeBron, it's not sugarcoating, his warning. Because the truth is about to drop isn't pretty. It's going to sting. The burden of proof? It doesn't fall on Jordan's side. That argument was settled decades ago. The weight sits squarely on the shoulders of the crowd claiming LeBron is a GOAT. And here's the problem. The receipts don't add up. Jordan never failed on the biggest stage. 6 trips, 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, perfection carved in stone. Every time the lights were brightest, every time the world leaned in to watch, Jordan delivered. No excuses, no collapses, no we'll get it next year. He turned pressure into fuel and opponents into footnotes. LeBron, legendary, yes, iconic, no doubt. But his story is filled with those cracks Stephen A. can't ignore. Finals losses, collapses on the grandest stage. 2011 against Dallas isn't just a bad chapter. It's a scar that never fades. Golden State beating him down again and again. San Antonio dismantling him in 2007 and again in 2014. These aren't nitpicks. They're defining truths. And that's a line Stephen A. draws. This isn't about hate. It's about guarding the throne. Michael Jordan didn't just win. He made the entire league bow. He held a chokehold on the culture, the competition, the conversation itself. He was basketball's North Star. Everything else revolved around him. LeBron, his respected, his admired, his applauded. But fear? That aura that makes the opposition lose sleep at night? That never existed. And Stephen A. isn't tearing LeBron down when he says it. He's protecting reality. He's saying, stop rewriting history to fit the narrative. The crown was claimed in blood, sweat, and 6 unbroken finals runs. And until someone matches that, the throne isn't even up for grabs.
MJ, for example, and obviously he's the one person that draws those comparisons. What ultimately comes up short is the level of fear that was his.
Stephen A. even gives LeBron some grace. He's not blind to reality. He's not out here pretending LeBron isn't great. He acknowledges it. He respects it. He even tips his cap to it. Because yes, LeBron James had to run into a dynasty in Golden State, a buzzsaw that featured Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and at one point Kevin Durant. That's not just a team. That's a gauntlet. That's one of the most unfairly loaded rosters in NBA history. But here's the difference, and this is where Stephen A. draws a sword. Jordan never needed excuses. He never needed anyone to soften the blow for him. You didn't have to say, well, the opponent was too stacked. You didn't have to say, well, he didn't have enough help. You didn't have to say, well, it was impossible circumstances. With Michael Jordan, there was no softening, no cushioning, no padding the narrative. Expectations weren't lowered for him. They were raised. You expected him to win, period. That was a standard he set. LeBron, though, the narrative bends to protect him. The conversation shifts. Oh, he lost, but look at who he lost to. Oh, he fell short, but look at his teammates. Oh, he didn't get it done, but look at the context. That's not fear. That's sympathy. And sympathy is the absolute opposite of intimidation. Sympathy is what you give someone when you know they fought but came up short. Jordan never received sympathy. He didn't need it. He was a storm. He was a nightmare. He was the opponent you prayed you didn't have to see in June. That's what Stephen A. is screaming from the rooftops. Jordan wasn't just playing the game. He was rewriting the psychological contract of competition. When you saw him on the other side, you weren't thinking about giving him credit for effort. You were thinking about how to survive him, and most of the time, you couldn't. 6 rings, 6 finals MVPs, 0 excuses, 0 sympathy. He was inevitability in sneakers. Now Stephen A. does something important. He makes it clear this is not hate. This isn't some smear campaign against LeBron James. Because the truth is, LeBron's greatness is real. At 39 years old, averaging over 25 points a game in his 21st season, that's not just impressive. That's almost supernatural. The man is still an all-NBA caliber player when most legends his age are either gone or barely hanging on. His durability, his consistency, his ability to still impose as well physically, it's extraordinary. He's a marvel of longevity, a modern machine built to outlast Father Time. But here's the sting. Longevity isn't fair. Numbers aren't fair. Endurance isn't fair. You can respect LeBron's milestones. You can celebrate his stats. You can admire his career arc. But fear? Fear is different. Fear is when you walk into the arena already defeated before the ball is tipped. Fear is when you know the assassin is already sharpening the blade. Fear is when one man controls the temperature of the league just by existing. And that's where Jordan separates himself.